In my process, after literally I finished my last college game, I'm coming to the locker room and pretty much crying because we lost. And I also had teams inviting me from Russia, Korea and Italy. I would say that it's not that Russian players do not prefer American college league NCAA, it's just that it's very hard to get in. The first player that comes to mind is probably Bošković, simply because I grew up watching her, such as Gabi, Eda, Naz, merhaba, üzgünüm, görüşürüz. Türkçe bilmiyorum. Üzgünüm. However, when I came to Turkey, sizleri seviyorum.
First of all, thank you for accepting our interview offer and welcome. How are you?
Great. We had a bit early flight, but besides that, yeah, very good.
Then let's start with our first question. This is the first professional experience of your volleyball career in Turkey. First of all, why did you choose Turkey? How did your transfer process developed? Were there any offers from other countries or teams?
I always wanted to play in professional volleyball, and my top countries were like back home in Russia, Italy and Turkey, just simply because of how strong the league is and how also famous these countries for their volleyball league and their volleyball overall and teams. And I grew up watching these countries and the clubs playing against each other in European leagues and stuff. In my process, after literally I finished my last college game, I'm coming to the locker room and pretty much crying because we lost, and I finished my 4 years in US. Then I get already somebody texted me, do you have an agent? I was like, no. So there was a really long process, and I was consulting with one of my ex-coaches from US, simply because I never really done it before and I don't know what to do, who to choose and how. And he recommended me through Inessa Karkmaz, who invited me here as well. So that's how I came. But besides Turkey, I also had teams inviting me from Russia, Korea and Italy.
How do you overcome the disadvantage of receiving the serve that you experienced due to being a tall outside hitter? What do you owe your stable level of reception despite your young age and power outside hitter?
I'm still working on that. I don't quite believe I have the stable reception. But one of the advices that I have is that I remember from my previous teams and coaches is that have a quick feet and loose shoulders. So like if the ball would not come at you, you just have enough time and agility to make an angle.
Do you think that you joined the European area late, or do you think the process is going for you well? Was the Voleybolun Sultan'ın League tough start?
I thought about that a lot when I was in college, simply seeing people my age already playing at a high level in international championships. Meanwhile, I was still studying in college and doing my homework. As I come here, it was definitely tough, but I believe that I am right now the best I was ever before. And for example, I did play in junior professional league before coming to college. Even when I was in college, pretty much until my senior year, I feel like I was a bit green. And even though I'm 22 and in my first year, I still kind of feel green at the same time. I'm still developing, I believe. I hope to develop more in the future.
So I want to ask you, Russian players do not prefer college league mostly. Do you remember how did you decision at a young age?
I would say that it's not that Russian players do not prefer American college league NCAA, is just that it's very hard to get in unless you really want to, you know about that, and or like I had in my situation, there was Russian-speaking coach who knew about international leagues and was inviting players from outside of US, because When I first came to university, my coach at the time, Leonid Yelin, he's from Uzbekistan. So he recruited me, he invited me when I was 17 playing for junior professional team in my city. And I didn't even know about that such a thing as American college league exists, because in my experience, it's after high school you choose either university or professional volleyball sport, because it's very hard to get both at the same time. And when I had this opportunity, I advised with my parents, and we thought that it was a really great option for me, and I'm glad I chose that.
We asked this especially because our players started to go to the college league too, and everybody's discussing should they go or should they stay in there? Already in Turkey, they are playing here, and they started to go to the college league. So I want to ask you, you studied psychology in university. In what ways do you think this benefited you on your court and relationship with your team members?
Yes, I think that the psychology that I studied was a bit different than like everyday kind of psychology. It's not like counseling, where it's like people can reflect on their life choices and stuff. It was more of a abnormal psychology. But overall, the main thing that I noticed is that it helped me to control my own thoughts and emotions, and kind of being able to react and change it if I'm not exactly happy with what I'm feeling or like what I'm doing, and kind of like reflect on my actions as well. With teammates, it just make it simpler to not. It's really hard to use psychology in a friendship, because it's not like friendship don't really getting built on a psychology. It's mainly like on personalities and proximity, but it helped me to communicate easier with others.
As Muratpaşa Belediyesi SigortaShop, you started Sultanlar Ligi very well. How would you evaluate your adventure and goals in the league so far?
Well, I believe that every team in the world goal is to win as many matches as possible. We had a very good start with some small bumps in the road, but what I noticed is that I've been in a team where the team wins every game, and sometimes winning a game after maybe a streak of losses feels so much better. It's like feels more powerful kind of thing. I think we're going pretty far so far, pretty good. We're doing pretty good so far, and I believe to continue like that in the second league, in the second part, I mean.
Do you think we are going to see Muratpaşa in the first 4 spots at the end of the season?
They'll be tough, considering very strong teams in our league. There's a lot of teams kind of in the middle of a bracket that like strong, and at the same time everybody can win everybody, which makes it fun. It's a definite possibility. We're gonna work for that, but I can't say for sure. We'll see. Everything can happen.
We talked about Sultanlar Ligi. So who are the players you would like and want to play within Voleybolun Sultanlar Ligi? Which players do you want to play and like in Sultanlar Ligi?
The first player that comes to mind is probably Bošković, simply because I grew up watching her. A lot of young players kind of idolize her for her, I don't know, stable play and very strong attacks. But besides her, there's definitely a lot of players in Sultan League that I want to work with, such as Gabi, Eda, Naz. There's definitely much more players, just the first people that come to my mind that like kind of make a foundation. I hope to work with them in future.
I want to ask you, do you have an idol or example for yourself? There are many good players in Russia. You said many Turkish players and foreign players. Do you have an idol? Do you take anyone as an example?
It's very hard to choose a specific person. If we're talking about Turkish players, I would say it's Eda, just simply of her leadership.
So if we ask you to create your dream team?
There's a lot of players, but the first that come to mind probably Bošković, because I grew up watching her, and I feel like a lot of girls idolize her simply because of how long she's been playing at such a strong and stable level. But besides that, I would definitely, another person that comes to my, it's closer to me and my position is Gabi. Such players as Zahra and Nas and Eda.
Libero?
Ooh, I always forgetting her name, but the libero in Fenerbahce.
Giza.
Yes, her.
So let's talk about Russia. Do you meet any of the players in the Russia's golden young generation? Do you think the squad that has so much potential, what would they do in VNL in European Championship last year?
Well, I didn't meet many of them personally. I feel like I met only the one that plays at Turkish League right now, because we play against them, but simply because I was in US for 4 years, so I was kind of like out there. It was very hard to keep up with Russian League as well, so I'm not 100% sure, but from what I see and what I heard right now, I think they would do a pretty good job.
Have you met with Russian national team head coach Zoran Terzic? Do you know his future plans? He reached out to you for Russian national team? I
haven't met him, nor I really didn't hear any invitation so far. I hope to maybe hear it in the future, but that's pretty much all I can say. I don't really know much.
Your successful performance is talked a lot in social media. You're now on the radar of volleyball fans, and your next choices are urgently waited. Where do you see yourself in 2 years?
In progress-wise, I hope to see myself being more stable and leading athlete. Hopefully being the starter outside hitter in a team in a final, most probably final. I think final is better to say than the first team, but being in the final game in a European Championship.
Antalya has always been a precious for Russians, but this time you are very precious for Antalya. What do you say about the city? Can you tell us what you enjoy the most?
When I first came to Antalya, I wasn't really much opportunities to see, simply because I was kind of scared, simply because a new country, I don't know language, I never been in Turkey before coming to Antalya. But later, the rest of my teammates, we were able to get out more, see the beaches and nice views. I think my favorite thing about Antalya right now, besides the warm weather, is the view of the mountains and the sea. I believe it's the first time I see such a thing, in person at least. So sometimes sitting at the cafe near the beach and seeing, especially in the sunset, seeing when water and the mountains kind of getting into the one thing, just continuing to each other. That's really awesome.
Are there any other cities in Turkey you would like to visit?
Yes. Even though we are right now in Istanbul, I wasn't really able to see the Istanbul besides playing here. I hope to see more Istanbul and probably
Izmir, Efes.
Yeah, I believe so. Izmir. Let's say Izmir. I forgot the name.
The Greek history and yes. Izmir.
But Izmir,
Efes.
Yeah.
So you can quickly go to slide attack just after receiving a serve. This reminded us of some points of Sokolova. You also played as Mendel. Do you think this advantages you? And what do you think about these points of yours?
I definitely think it's of advantage. I was playing, in my career, I was playing every position besides libero. I was also setter one game, simply because we had nobody, and I was kind of helping. I played as a middle in Russian championships in a more older teenage years, and I believe I did pretty good. And as well, I was playing for a year and a half in US. However, when I came, I was outside here. I moved to right side, and then finished it at middle. And then finally, in the third year, I was able to come back to outside. I believe such diversity of skills really will help any players. Just being more agile and being able to get the balls that usually people that play in the same position wouldn't be able to do. So I think it's definitely of advantage, which I use quite often.
Now we have short questions.
Yes.
Who is your favorite Turkish volleyball player?
I'm not sure if Melissa Vargas counts.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, then probably Melissa Vargas. Honestly, first time heard of her only last year. I haven't really was able to keep up with European Championships, but seeing her, especially this summer, was really amazing. I really hope to either work with her or play against her.
Who did you tell first after you got the offer from Muratpaşa Belediyesi SigortaShop?
Parents, definitely. It was after I kind of signed, and I signed online because I was back in US when I did it. I signed and sent it to my agent, and then I called my parents, and they're like, "Okay, let's work with that."
Which movie star would you like to meet?
Anne Hathaway. And there's multiple, I would say. Anne Hathaway, Robert De Niro, simply, I don't know, a legend. And that's gonna be a bit out of blue. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. I want to stand next to him.
Everybody wants.
I know.
Which Turkish words do you know?
Even though I'm not fluent, my Turkish teammates taught me some, such as merhaba, üzgünüm, görüşürüz. I know üzgünüm, Türkçe bilmiyorum. In case I ordered online and delivery guy would call me and I was like, Türkçe bilmiyorum. Üzgünüm. But yeah, and bunch of other phrases and that I would use in everyday lifestyle, pretty much.
The last book you read?
I'm reading a book right now. I'm reading Fyodor Dostoevsky, White Nights. It's a novel, kind of romantic, but not exactly. It's more of I'm still reading it though. I cannot live it. It's close to romance, but also kind of like self-reflection on a lonely life and maybe seeing something like a hope and a little light. And trying to catch up with it.
Have you searched your name in Google?
Yes. Yes.
Did you see anything funny?
I did, yes. Simply seeing, I wanted to watch my own interview before, back in college, because I was really scared that it was gonna be really bad. It was actually my first interview in the video back there, and I thought that my English was awful. I was so scared. It was right after the game, my mind was all over the place, but it was okay. It was all right. And yeah, definitely when I came to Turkey too, I did sometimes seeing both good and bad.
I want to ask you that. As Turkish people, we started to call you Hürrem Sultan. First of all, do you know her?
I do.
Like, she's a powerful woman in Turkish history, and everybody knows her. And now you're our Hürrem Sultan. What do you think about that?
I know she was a really powerful woman and very known in Europe back then. She was loved in Europe and I believe Turkey too. But I first got introduced to her through the TV show, the
Muhteşem Yüzyıl.
Yes.
At one point, Cardi B was watching that TV show.
Cardi B?
Yes.
Yeah, I grew up kind of watching this with my grandma and seeing her, she definitely seems such a strong woman. So I think it's kind of a compliment, mainly because of my appearance, because of ginger hair. But it might change, it might not, I don't know. I don't keep up with one hair color too often, but I was ginger as a child, but then disappeared. And then did a bunch of different colors. So I kind of get back to my roots. So
I want to ask you, you said you watched Muhteşem Yüzyıl. Did you watch any other Turkish films or TV series?
Well, Turkish TV shows are very popular in Russia. So like the drama, it's very similar how Russian dramas also work. And I watched another is Mama. It's like about a woman kind of adopting a girl
from an abusive parent.
Yes. So I watched it quite some time ago. I also really enjoyed it, but I believe that's pretty much all. There's another movie that I want to watch. I believe it's Turkish. It's about Turkish soldier and Korean girl.
Ayla.
Yes, Ayna, the moon. Yeah.
Then the last question: if you're able to teleport, where would you want to be right now?
Home with my parents, but I'm coming home next week. I'll be able to visit, and so I would probably, besides home, I'll choose Hawaii. Simply, I want to see. Even though I was in US, I wasn't able to visit because it's, first of all, it's very expensive. Second, it's even only the flight expensive. Living there is expensive too, as a tourist. But I would really want to see their culture and the views and the ocean. I think it's just really cool place.
Thank you. Lastly, I want to ask you, do you want to say anything to your Turkish friends?
Thank you for supporting me. I'm really glad that I came to Turkey. When I first came to US, there was definitely people that supporting the teams, and there was a lot of viewers. However, when I came to Turkey, it was on a completely different level. It was much bigger. And support of fans is also much stronger. So I wanted to say thank you. And I want to ask for continued supporting me and the team. Sizleri seviyorum.